It's a major trucking route. It's designed to bring interstate and intrastate traffic through to the inner city bypass via the inner western suburbs of Brisbane. In a day and age when so many cities in the world are trying to remove their traffic from the inner city precincts, here we have a local council with the assistance of the Queensland Government and the Federal Government trying to feed traffic right into the heart of the CBD and our inner city suburbs.
The road building agenda isn't just limited to the Northern Link tunnel. As you can see, we've got Northern Link happening in here, in this small area in the middle, but there's also the plan for this sort of western bypass car tunnel coming out of Toowong. There's also a plan for a car tunnel coming from Buranda over on the east side to meet up with Toowong. There's, as Peter mentioned, the Centary highway upgrade, which is flagged by Main Roads. There is the Gap Creek Road upgrade, Kenmore bypass, Mogul Pocket sub-arterial, and then a lot of projects happening way out in the west, which might not seem like they're going to affect Toowong, but essentially it's going to be a big funnel from these new areas where the government's focusing their population growth. So there's a heck of more than $3 billion worth of work going on the Ipswich motorway, which will start bringing people, even more people and trucks into the inner west. And then there's also the Centenary Highway upgrade all the way out to Springfield in Ripley Valley, which is meant to be the government's new population area. And the plan is for those people living out there, for the growth, for the majority of those people to use a car, and if they're coming in there, that's all going to be funneled in. Will they reduce congestion? This is the primary justification for all of these roads. It's what we hear all the time, is that these roads are going to reduce congestion, ease congestion on the road. But what has the actual traffic modelling for these Trans-Apex and other projects found? Blue line is 2004 traffic on the inner city bypass, Stafford Road and Gympie Road. The red line is 2026 option with do nothing, and the yellow bar chart is 2026 with AirportLink. So in terms of reducing congestion on the major roads connecting with AirportLink, it's an absolute joke. They become funnel points and they just congest up even more. These mysterious 15-minute time savings within the tunnels get lost very quickly. Lutwyche Road, which is meant to be one of the main beneficiaries of AirportLink, just like Milton Road will supposedly be a main beneficiary of the Northern Link tunnel. At best, it will have a 3% reduction in traffic from 2004, and certain sections of Lutwyche Road will have more than a 20% increase in traffic. So, under a normal definition of reducing congestion, AirportLink does not stack up. Hale Street Bridge, even more dubious. There's really no business case for the Hale Street Bridge. You can see up on this chart, these are the three main connecting roads on the south side: Cordelia Street, Maryvale and Vulture Street. The blue part is how these roads will function without a bridge. That's without the money being reinvested in public transport. That's just no bridge. The red lines are with the bridge. So I'm not sure what Anna Bligh is thinking in allowing that through her electorate there, but there must be some other justification which the public aren't being told, because in terms of congestion, they don't stack up, and Northern Link won't stack up either. Frederick Street, the Western Freeway, all those areas will become clog points. The big thing that will call all of these projects into question is the peaking of world oil supplies. This graph shows the increase of Australian fuel prices since 2004. As you can see, even though we've had a few drops, it's generally on the way up. This graph maps the major world discoveries of oil, and as you can see, the last major discoveries were really made in the 1960s, and since then our discoveries have declined. At this stage, there's no comparable alternative to oil. So whether all these projects will even end up being of any use to us at all is starting to be called highly into question, given that the CSIRO is now predicting in 10 years fuel prices will be between $2 and $10. So driving is going to become less affordable for more and more people. So potentially in 10 or 20 years there won't be anywhere near as many cars on the road. The most vulnerable places in Brisbane, this is some research done by Griffith University, are the outer suburbs. They need to be the transport priority with public transport. Ipswich, Caboolture, Logan, all the socio-economically disadvantaged areas are going to suffer the most in terms of poverty, lack of access to jobs. They're also the worst serviced by public transport. So that's where our priority needs to be. Are we taking a balanced approach? Here we can see Brisbane City Council's transport budget from 2003 to 2008. The large orange part of the graph, that is roads funding. The smaller purple one is public transport funding. And the tiny little yellow one, that's how much money council is putting into walking and cycling. So it's a bit of a joke for any of the councillors, the state government or the federal government to say they're taking a balanced approach to transport. The share prices for River City Motorway, who are building the north-south bypass tunnel. As you can see, that big red line just dropping. Shareholders are losing money every day on their investment in the north-south bypass tunnel. Even though they're all individual projects and the communities will be isolated by just looking at one after the other before a whole comes together, it's important that the communities involved in this stuff are able to work together and propose some kind of major alternative to this. As an alternative, a holistic region, western region approach. In terms of rail, fast-tracking the upgrade of the Ipswich railway line, including freight upgrades, making that happen as soon as possible. 10-minute frequencies from Ipswich to Brisbane during peak hours, 15-minute frequencies non-peak hours. Fast-tracking the building of the rail line out to Springfield, currently that's being delayed till 2015. Make that happen straight away, link that in through the Ripley Valley, the whole new area there, and take it back up to UQ Ipswich and back into Ipswich. Consider a southern rail bypass mimicking the Logan motorway to take freight from the western corridor straight across to the southern freight corridor down to New South Wales rather than going into the city then back down. Consider a rail extension from Moggill back across to Wacol to give people an alternative to taking the bus. Some inner city improvements such as immediately utilising the rail line between the Normanby, the Exhibition, Bowen Hills and Fortitude Valley, so we effectively would have an inner city rail ring. This is adding to the plan, so you can see all the little nodes, the black station circles, most of those stations highlighted need to be serviced by feeder buses that meet 15-minute frequency in peak hours and meet every off-peak train. We need feeder buses so people can use the rail system. We need more cross-city services. Only about 15% of trips in Brisbane are into the CBD, and so there's a couple proposed here. There's a cross-city bus service from Toowong up through Ashgrove to Enoggera, get that running like a bus service so people can bypass the city there, and some cross-city services so people over in the outer west can get across to jobs over in Archerfield, Salisbury. There's large industrial areas over there so people can get across the city as well as into the city on public transport. Very cheap options, pedestrian options. You can see a couple of pedestrian bridges up there. The one from Milton to West End, one from Fig Tree Pocket to Sherwood, so people living over in that area can get to a rail station very easily. Westlake to Balbowery, and possibly one linking cyclists and pedestrians with Riverview from the other end of Moggill.